Boa tarde. I am Lisa Peixoto, the Admissions Director for Avenues São Paulo. Welcome to all of you to our Inside Look, the student experience. I want to first thank you for carving out some time in your busy day to get to know Avenues a little better, and no one else better than our very own students to share their own experiences. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. You can use the chat feature to put in your questions or to hold your thoughts. And with that, let me turn it over.
There's one part that I'm really trying to keep going every day because it's making a huge difference for me, and it's my morning routine.
I wake up usually around 7-ish.
Well, I think in the beginning we were all very lost, but when you get used to it, you kind of know what to do, and you definitely had all the teachers to support you and help you.
So I think the communication we have with our teachers are really good, and how fast the Avenues community did that, it was really impressive for me.
We are always talking and helping ourselves.
We always reach out for each other and we're like, hey, how are you doing this? How am I supposed to do this?
And I think this is good because sometimes we miss our friends, right?
It's good to talk to them when we're so distant from each other.
Hello, welcome to Inside Avenues. My name is John Chilello, and I'm the head of the secondary division. So I work with the students in grades 6 through 12. Tonight, you will meet a few of our secondary students who will talk about their projects, their studies, their activities, and experiences at Avenues São Paulo. Really, there's no better way to learn about our school, but directly from our secondary students. I'm proud and fortunate to work with such dedicated and committed group of students, and I'm sure you'll be impressed with activities in the classes and the projects they're involved in. So enjoy the evening, and I now turn it over to one of our 9th grade students, Sophia.
Hello, my name is Sophia. I'm a 9th grader, and I'm going to be talking about distance learning and all the different positives that have come from it for me and all the different things I've learned from it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to share what we're going to be looking at today. So first of all, we're going to be talking about distance learning, then project-based learning, fifth term Brumadinho, electives, mastery, global journey, and clubs. And at the end, we're going to have a question and answer session. Okay, so throughout online learning, I feel at the beginning it was definitely very hard for us to be able to get used to it and actually feel comfortable in the environment since we weren't familiar with it before. But in many ways, we all helped each other out and we all had the support of the teachers and I think together we all went learning step by step and it got easier along the way. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about online learning is all the flexibility and freedom I have to organize my day and plan out my schedule according to what works for me. So a word I would use to describe Avenues throughout this whole process would be nimble, because they've been very flexible with everything. And the way that they've just adjusted everything to fit our needs, it's been really great, and they did it in such a fast way. I've really enjoyed seeing my progress throughout online learning because I feel that I have changed and grown a lot through it because I've learned different things about myself and how I work best and which environments I thrive in most. And I feel throughout online learning, there have been periods where I've felt very stuck since I didn't know what to do or I felt lost. But then in a way, you always have people there to help you out, whether it being your teachers or your friends. You always find a way to get back up, which is really great. One of the other things I wanted to share that I feel have been very important throughout online learning is all the different projects that we've been able to participate in. So one of the ones I wanted to highlight was the Pracinha group. And the Pracinha group is changed this year to Apoio Jardim Panorama. And Jardim Panorama is the community that's in front of our school. And throughout this project, we were able to learn in which ways we can communicate in an environment that's online, especially since it's a lot harder. So throughout this, we were able to actually create more of a friendship and a bond and really understand what their needs were. And in this picture, you can see all the different families helping to create these hygiene kits and actually be able to deliver them to Jardim Panorama. And I think one of the highlights was definitely to be able to see all the different avenues families taking part in this project and really wanting to give back. In this picture, as you can see the people in Jardim Panorama receiving the hygiene kits, and it was one of the most satisfying projects I feel like that I have done, because I feel like I gave a lot to it, and I also gained a lot in return, because I was able to learn more how we can collaborate with others, even though it's not face-to-face. So now I'm going to be passing it on to my colleague Yasmin, who's going to be talking about project-based learning.
Thank you, Sophia. So my name is Yasmin, and I'm in 11th grade, and today I'm going to talk about project-based learning. So what is project-based learning, or PBL? It's a different way of teaching that makes learning more active and engaging for the students. How does it work? The teachers work together to develop interdisciplinary projects that incorporate the content in our curriculum, and the skills we'll be able to develop throughout the process. To me, what is so special about this way of teaching, or at least why I love it so much, is how the projects connect what we're learning with what's happening in the world right now. This gives an unmeasurable meaning to learning and motivates us to want to know more. In order for you to understand it better, I'm going to show you a more concrete example. So I'm currently in the project The Future of Food and Wellness. It integrates English, World Course, which are social studies, science, and art. It's also an example of how we're implementing project-based learning in an online environment. As you can see here in the screen, we explored 3 outcomes: global trends, sustainability, and identity. They englobe the contents and skills developed in our curriculum, as I said before. So with global trends, we analyzed where foods and grains were first domesticated, how it spread, if there were any patterns, and how it affected society. And with this part, we also studied identity, because we learned how we are shaped by factors we can't even control and that sometimes we're not even aware of. For sustainability, we learned about climate change and the impact of food production on it. And in order to discuss all these important topics, we had some debates, which were very enriching, because I was able to understand new perspectives and formulate my opinion and have the opportunity to defend it. And then the final deliverable was that based on what we learned, we had to state what we imagined the future of food and wellness will be like. And one of my provocations was to find an answer of how to feed a growing population, but at the same time use fewer resources and space to prevent the acceleration of climate change. And this is a very important problem that we're facing nowadays. Therefore, this method connects what we're learning to real-life situations, giving purpose to the students. It's also an example of how avenues build global leaders. We're not only learning the specific content, we're using it to improve and to redesign our future. So thank you. And now my friends Zana and Felipe will talk about 5th term.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Felipe. I'm an 11th grader, and I'm going to talk a little bit about 5th term, one of the most unique and in my opinion, one of the best parts of Avenue's curriculum. Well, the 5th term will always happen during the last month of school. And during this period of 5 weeks, students have the chance to forget all that day-to-day subject-based learning, so focusing on English, arts, or any other subject, and they will have the chance to deep dive on the subjects and passions they want to learn about, and they have the interest on. So the school gives us 3 options to the students. One of them is a lot of different courses, focus on a lot of different topics in which the student can apply and focus during this whole 5 weeks amount of time to learning more about this topic and the subject. So it goes from oceanography to entrepreneurship, even love, or a lot of different topics. Well, the section option, Mateus is going to talk a little bit more about afterwards in this presentation, but it's mastery, where you have the chance to focus a little bit more on your own projects, and during this whole time, just focus on developing your live project. And the third, and for me, the most engaging one, are the global journeys, which are opportunities for you to live out the school environment and actually have the chance to learn throughout the world. So Avenues gives you the opportunity to visit a lot of different places in a lot of different countries, so you can actually learn from these trips. Last year, I did a trip to Brumadinho, and it was definitely one of the most amazing experience I ever had in my life. And Ana is going to talk a little bit more about it now.
Hi everyone, I'm Ana. I'm an 11th grader, and yeah, as Lip said, I'll be going to talk about the Brumadinho experience. So after the tragedy that happened in Brumadinho in the beginning of last year, a small group of 9th and 10th graders engaged in this five-week student-led experience. As Lip said, we had the chance to join this experience, and I can say that it completely transformed me. Learning and facing a reality that's so different than mine impacted and changed my perspective of the world. So as Lip said, the fifth term happens in a period of time of 5 weeks. And the Brumadinho experience, inside of these 5 weeks, the experience was divided into 3 phases: planning the trip, the actual trip, and then preparing and showcasing our work. So first of all, we spent 2.5 weeks on campus learning about the complexities of the disaster and planning the field trip. And I remember that in the first day of 5th term classes, we arrived at school, and the teachers showed us the 1 week schedule of our Brumadinho trip. And there were only 2 things up there: a plane ticket to go and another one to come back, meaning that we had to plan everything from scratch, all of the interventions, activities and collaborations with NGOs, which we managed to do that through lots of research, phone calls, and of course, our teacher support. Now on the actual field trip, we partnered up with the high school there. So together with students our age, we did a series of interventions all over the city with the objective of giving voice and hearing all people had to say, their feelings and emotions. Because when we were there, it was 3 or 4 months right after the disaster, the tragedy. So it was something very, very recent there. And lastly, we put everything together into an amazing documentary, which its teaser will be available in the chat. It was students filmed, produced, and students directed. I recommend you to watch it because it's very powerful. Right now, I hope this is us there in Brumadinho, and in the right picture, we were in a local NGO called Amigos de Brumadinho. I hope you could have a general idea of what's 5th term and how important was this Brumadinho experience. And right now, I would like to introduce you to my colleague Mateus, who will be talking about electives at Avenues and the Mastery elective. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana. Hello, good evening. My name is Mateus. I'm a senior. Sorry about that. And today I'll be talking about electives and especially the Mastery program. So here at Avenues, students have electives along with traditional subjects such as maths and Portuguese. Electives allow students to choose between a wide variety of courses where they can deepen their knowledge in certain subjects such as science and pursue their own project, which is in my case. So for instance, students who are really into science can choose advanced chemistry and advanced physics, or students who wish to start their own projects can opt for social innovation, where they get the chance to work with social engagement, or in my case, Mastery. Mastery is an elective that seeks to provide students with autonomy and the ideal workspace for them to work on their own personal projects. Mastery is a space for students to find new passions or further develop their skills that they already have. So for instance, the image on the bottom left corner is a picture of Guilherme Kobe. He is also a senior and he built a sustainable bamboo bike for his project. And on the bottom right corner, we have Alice, she's also a senior and she was studying biology by hatching chicks. So we have a really wide variety of projects that are really only limited to the students' imagination. In my case, I've been developing a 2D game for the past 2 years. The game's concept is fairly simple. You'll fight different foes, and for each enemy you defeat, you'll unlock different skills, making your character more powerful each level. I took inspiration from retro titles such as The Legend of Zelda and Mega Man. Game development has been my biggest passion for years now, and Mastery allowed me to develop my skills and grow as a game developer. Back in my old school, I was getting less and less time to program games, and that was honestly making me a little bit upset. But the Mastery program was actually one of the main reasons why I joined Avenues. The idea of having 3 to 2 lessons a week where I could work on my own project sounded like a perfect opportunity. It's been a really great journey. I've learned so much about programming and also got to work with a couple of friends that were part of the Mastery program as well, which made the process a lot more fun. So what you're seeing right now are illustrations made by a 12th grader called Sayuri. And she's one of my closest friends, and she made amazing illustrations for the game's menu and for the cutscenes as well. So these illustrations were all made by her, and she's really talented, as you can see. I also collabed with João Greenberg, and he's in fact an ambassador here in this call as well, and he's going to talk a little bit more about Mastery in a global journey context. But he composed some of the songs for the game, which is something I really don't know how to do, so that was really helpful and was also an opportunity for him to grow as well. Of course, not everything went according to plan. I had motivational issues, and since when I first started this project, I was kind of a newbie. I lost a lot of time fixing bugs and poorly written code, but honestly, I'm glad I had to go through all of these challenges. They're the reason why I grew so much after all. And the game is almost done now, and all that is left to do is to finish implementing sound effects and polishing it before finally publishing. It's been an amazing experience, and I hope I can keep on doing what I love next year. So what you see here on the screen are a couple of screenshots of the game that I programmed. And on the bottom right, it's a GIF of 2 of the characters of the game. And so now, if you guys have any question later, you can feel free to ask me about the project. But for now, I'm gonna give the word to my friend João, who is going to talk about global journeys and the Mastery Academy in Shenzhen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mateus. Hello, everyone. So as Mateus mentioned, I'm João, a senior at Avenues. And today I'm going to go over 2 main topics. One is Club and the other is Mastery Academy, which I'm going to explain a little bit now. So as my friends mentioned, Mastery Academy is an opportunity for students to pursue their interest while being abroad. For example, I'm going to go a little bit over Mastery Academy Shenzhen, which me and Mateus had a chance to experience last year. So in this trip, we went to Shenzhen, and you might be asking why Shenzhen, but Shenzhen is actually known for being the Silicon Valley of China due to its high tech and being a hub of innovation. So we went to Shenzhen with the goal of building 3D printers from scratch, and we were able to take advantage of our surroundings by sourcing materials and also learning a bit more about China. For me, personally, it was a great experience because I had never been in Asia before, and to experience all of that rich culture and understand a little bit more about what it's out there was amazing. I also got a chance to explore a little bit more about the world of 3D printers, learn a bit of coding with Mateus, and actually create innovative solutions for the future. We also had the chance to do some field trips. We went to Tencent, a well-known company, and also some markets, technology markets, where we were able to get our materials to build our 3D printers. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about clubs at Avenues. You may not be familiar with clubs. I wasn't at first when I came from my former school, which was a Brazilian school, but clubs are actually another opportunity for students to follow their passions and also find group of students that have the same interests as them. So in the screen now, you can see some of the clubs that we have at Avenues. And the clubs are considered extracurriculars because they are not during a school period, but you are able to take advantage of all of Avenues resources and have the support of a teacher advisor. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into D4I, which stands for Design for Impact, because it's the club that I'm part of. So D4I is a little bit different because it was originally founded in New York, and me together with 4 students decided to bring it to Brazil. And D4I has the goal of spreading the design thinking process throughout all of our community and outside of our community so that people can start seeing problem as opportunities. In the past years, we have conducted different events, such as the day-long design challenge, which was a day that we got at Avenues to invite startups and companies together with students from other schools and help them solve the problems that those companies brought to us. Another opportunity was the ASA conference, in which we facilitated a design challenge with teachers from all over the country and also from countries nearby. So now I'm going to leave you off with Ms. Viola and Ms. Fontenot, who are part of our admissions teams and are going to conduct the Q&A today. Thank you.
Thank you, João. Thank you to all of those who joined us this evening. Guys, you did an amazing job as always, so thank you to all the students for everything you shared. My name is Colleen Fontenot, and I'm part of the admissions team. I look after grades 4 through 10.
Hi, I'm Miss Viola, or Juliana. I also work in the secondary admissions team with grades 6 through 12. Thank you all for joining tonight.
So if you guys want to use the chat function and ask some questions, as you can imagine, all of the students are fully bilingual. You can ask your questions in Portuguese or in English. You can also ask questions to Lisa Peixoto or John Chalello about the division or about the school. We're here to answer any questions you guys may have. Thank you, Ana Carolina. Do you have a question, or do you want to open your mic, or would you like to type?
Yes, I do. It's easier if I can talk than write.
Courageous.
I would like to know if they have any advice to know more about their own skills, like someone who can tell them which one of these mastery or the others, I don't know the others skills that you are talking about, but the soft skills, I think, if they can be advised by someone else.
Just to see if I understood your question correctly, you want to know more about the global journeys, or you want to know more about how they develop like soft skills, empathy, and
how do they develop? And the global skills, I think, is the one that Mateus told us, or on the mastery or something, isn't it? Sure. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I think Mateus or João would either of you like to go into how one applies to go on a global journey, and then perhaps, João, I saw you talking about SLCs. You could talk about student-led conferences and how students are assessed.
Mm-hmm.
Mateus, I think you can start with
I can talk about the admission for global journeys. So it wasn't even near the end of the semester. It was like a semester prior to the actual trip. we got this list of like different locations. So we had like Hawaii, we had Shenzhen, which is the one Joe and I went to, and each one of them had like different topics and skills they would learn. So Hawaii, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was about astronomy, and Shenzhen was about technology and innovation. And so the students that are interested, all they have to do is they send an email to, actually it's a form, it's a Google form that it's sent to us, and then you select the options that you want to apply to, and then you wait for the results to return. And it depends on the global journey that the number of students are admitted, but it's usually not that competitive. For Shenzhen, I think it was five 11th grader out of 7 that applied that got in. But all I have to do really is send then an email to one of the head teachers that are coordinating the trip, explaining your background on the subject, why you want to go on that trip. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So basically, you have to answer a form and then send an email answering a couple of questions like why you want to join that journey and why you're interested in it.
And just to add real quick to that, Ana Carolina, I think every year there are new countries and new proposals that are given. So if you're not into technology and 3D printing and programming, and you are into art or fine art, there may not be an option this year, but in future years. So the Global Journeys program does a really intentional job of making a wide offering, so that over the course of your time at Avenues, you might just go on one, you may go on more than one, but the intention is that it be something that really is, you're hoping to learn more about. And actually for the middle grades, it's very competitive because everybody wanted to go. So it depends on the program, how many people apply, but you can also go and stay with a host family in New York. So that's also one of the global journeys to our other campuses. And as we open more, there will be more available. So João, do you want to talk about assessments and student-led conferences?
I could just add really quick to that too. It is a forum for us to connect the campuses together. So we try to have a lot of those trips will be some students from New York, and as we bring on, we'll have Silicon Valleys pretty soon, and it's a way for us to be really truly one school with many campuses, but we do try to share programs whenever we can. So they're also can be proposed by the teacher. So there was, for example, it was a shame it was canceled because of COVID, but there was a great trip planned to Portugal, which really could tie into our Brazilian program and to really see the origins of Brazil. But there was an amazing ones, and it was really quite, yeah, it was quite competitive in the sense of everybody was trying to go to at least one, or they wanted to go to all the trips, some of them, but it's, unfortunately, we will take those and work with those next year. Okay, turn over to João. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chalelo. So if I got it right, and I think the second part of your question was how students discover what are their interests and passions and how they follow them. So I think there are two things that I should mention to cover that question. First, there's the SLCs. So this is actually an opportunity for the students to use what they have learned in classes and gather all the projects that they have done, and use metacognitive skills to think to themselves like what is my, out of the 5 core skills that we have, like collaboration, critical thinking, and so on, you decide which of them you think are strengths, and yeah, I'll cover that, and which are you think are strengths, and also which you think are areas of growth. So I think that's the first opportunity that you have to look to yourself and understand like what are your strengths. I'm just going to mention here metacognitive skills is the ability to look at your own work and what are your skills on that sense. So the SLC is essentially a very metacognitive activity. And the other part that I was going to cover is the Dean's program, which is, I would say in Brazil, it translates to a tutor or someone that's going to be directly in contact with the kids, with the kid and also with the kid's family. And in my case, they are now helping us with the college admission process and all of that. But for middle grades, they're mostly concerned about the student well-being and also the activities they are engaged on.
Great.
And can I also share something about this? Sorry, should we move on to the next question? Okay.
Please share.
Okay. I'm Yasmin. I'm in 11th grade now. And I just wanted to share that I think when I was in 9th grade, so my first year at Avenues, I took part in the mastery also. And at first I didn't really know what it was because it was all a little bit new. But then since I started to like work with it, this was an opportunity for me to discover new passions. So that's something really nice about Avenues too. Even though you may not be sure of what your passions are yet, you have the opportunity to discover them throughout the process. So in Mastery, I actually was kind of trying to join some of the interests that I already knew I liked, so about music and maybe like planning and building things, and I created a project that englobed this too. It was actually mine at the end. It was this machine. I don't know if you know them, but they're called like Rube Goldberg machines, where you like leave a ball and then they go through lots of steps until they do a final task. And my final task was to play the Harry Potter theme on a piano that I coded. And I learned lots of things with this project. So I learned some interest. So I learned that I like to kind of plan and design things and then test this ideas, see if they work, and to actually like something more hands-on. But I also discovered that coding is not something so much for me than it is for Mateus, for example, as he said. It's very hard for me, but it was nice because I also got this experience. So it kind of helped me to understand what are the things that I like, what are the things that I have more difficulties on. So all this Avenues curriculum and even the project-based learning also, it helps you to find these passions and to understand what you like and what you don't.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Yasmin. Sophia, since you were in the middle grades last year and Mateus kind of touched on how the Dean's program is a little bit different when you're looking at college, do you want to elaborate on what was your experience as a middle grader with the Dean's program?
Yes, I can. So I think the Deans were, like Mateo said, definitely there for your well-being and just focused more on how you were feeling at school or to support you with your extracurricular activities or things you were troubled with. Like whether it was in class or outside of school, I think they were more this person there to support you. And I know like in middle grades, we have this transition from 7th grade math to 8th grade math, which is when we start presenting problems and learning in a different way. So it's very hard for a lot of people who are like in 8th grade because I entered the school in 7th grade, halfway through 7th grade. So it was very hard to go from one different method of learning math to a completely different one in 8th grade. And I think the Deans definitely helped a lot for all of us to feel more comfortable and just, I think feel more comfortable and understand which are the ways that it works and how, like, even though you're taking slow steps, there's still going to be progress at the end. So I would say the Deans are always there to support you and help you.
Thanks, Sophia.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone else has a question about that we could direct at one of the students. I did see a question here about the admissions process. I don't know if I'm going to say your name correctly. Yanidi asked about o processo de admissão para ensino fundamental. Yanidi, if you'd like, I can send you a message directly, or we can stay after and I can talk to you a little bit more about that. Since I know all of our students have to get back to their schoolwork and things like that, I wanna respect their time and take advantage while they're available. I know Lipi, Anna, would either of you like to add anything that maybe we've touched on that you could elaborate on?
Sure. I really like the topic that Yasmin was talking a little bit about, because when the question is made like, who helps you to understand what you like, or what are your passions, or what you're good at? I don't think the answer is a person, but the answer is avenues as a whole. So the projects, the classes, everything we learn, all we do there helps us to understand what are our passions and what we want to focus on. So I think a good example for me is once I entered avenues, I didn't have any idea of like what I wanted to do or what I really liked. And once I started doing projects and engaging in clubs, I saw that I really like entrepreneurship, and it was something that like, it was my passion. And well, last year, me and two friends, we created the entrepreneurship club at Avenues, Spark Club. And well, it started just as like, okay, we want to find people that think just like us here. And well, so we can share our experiences about entrepreneurship and actually try to learn more about it. And with this whole pandemic situation, we decided, okay, what can we do to make this go on, and to make people engaged on entrepreneurship, right? And we had the idea, me together with my friends, to create lives talking about entrepreneurship. And well, this started just as, okay, we'll try to engage the students that are part of the entrepreneurship club. But as we started to go on, we realized that this was a way for us to actually get, well, any type of person engaged in entrepreneurship, and trying to teach anyone that wanted to know more about entrepreneurship, what it is, and inspirational stories and everything. So, and with time, we started to have interviews with important people. We interviewed Jorge Paulo Lemann, Abílio Diniz, João Kepler, and a lot of other names, from young entrepreneurs to social entrepreneurs. I don't know, a lot of different names. It's been a really nice job, something that I'm really proud of, because Avenues helped me to find this passion, and now it's something that it's really getting me engaged. And I don't know, I just really like talking about it. I could stay here the whole day, but that's more or less it.
Can I just add something very quick? I'm reinforcing that I really liked that you, Lipi, talked about it's not a person, but avenues as a whole. And at the same time, this person, well, it's you, because it's your passions. And well, yeah, you're the student. So yeah, avenues as a whole, everything, it's like, you're like, you're always reflecting upon your work, and you're always doing metacognitive questions. Yeah, so like the clubs do that, then the classes, the teachers, the SLCs. So yeah, just you're always reflecting upon your work, which helps you to be a curious person. You understand better about yourself and identify your areas of growth, your areas of strength and weakness, which will be like great for all areas of your life and in the future.
Thank you, Anna. You touched on a really interesting concept that we haven't used the language too much, that we use a lot at Avenues, of student-driven. So I think that's something that as a school we talk about a lot. And I am always in favor of the shameless plugs. So I want to know if you guys want to share any sort of initiatives that you've started, if you guys have an Instagram handle or website. Use this time to tell us a little bit more about what you're working on. And if you want to share anything with the group, feel free to use the chat. I know you've touched on it, João, D4I, and Felipe, you've talked about Spark, but elaborate so that the audience knows the things that you guys have been a part of creating.
I can maybe begin then. So here it's really nice because we have four like founders of this group. We created at Avenues the TED Club, and it's me, João, that is here, Ana, and Lipi, and Felipe. And it's very nice because we also built it from scratch. So our idea was, because we really like this public speaking and sharing ideas from a variety of topics. So we wanted to both kind of teach the students of how we can improve this public speaking, and if there are certain techniques And what about like your hands? What are the hand gestures? How do you talk? Do you prepare a script or not? And these are like very essential information that you can use for your whole life. So we were going to start this part of the club right before we all had this coronavirus and all the situation changed. But we tried to keep going, and we have now like what we call the TED circles, which is like a group where we share these ideas. So we watch a TED talk together and then we discuss about it. And it's really nice because they're hosts all around the world, and we share this like the knowledge we gain with the TED talks. And we also created an Instagram for it where we're going to share all this knowledge gained. And maybe João or Lipi can talk a little bit more about it too.
I think I can cover, but so the Instagram account is a way that we found to reach out to that audience because we were constrained due to the pandemic. So things that we are planning for the future is similar to what Lipi has done with his peers at Spark Club. So inviting people to do like mini TED Talks, virtual TED Talks about different topics. So for now, we are still reaching out to people and starting to record the small talks, but we also want to create a place where people can find knowledge and spread ideas about different topics and ideas.
Sophia, how about the community engagement projects that you work on? Are there any handles, or I know there's a lot of crowdfunding that you guys have been doing. What about those projects?
So the one I talked about in the meeting today, Jardim Panorama, was one that was really, I think it was really great. Right now we're working on new initiatives new goals we want to achieve by the end of this year. But one that I've been really engaged in that I feel that has come a very long way is a club called Tutoria Solidaria, which started off by us working with an NGO and finding a way to support. The NGO works with some kids who are in unstable family environments at home. So with this NGO, we partnered in a way to kind of make a friendship with these kids from the NGO and really help them with their schoolwork and their social life. So that project was founded by me and 3 other 9th graders, which the project first started off as Bem Comum, which we started to find ways we could get computers and phones for them to use because the NGO didn't have any. And then when we had given the computers and they had the material, we started to look at different ways the project could go beyond and how we could make more progress. So we came up with Tutoria Solidaria, which is, so we basically tutor the kids, and it's really great because I get to kind of experience a reality that's very different to mine and sympathize with it and kind of understand better the differences and similarities we have. And I've been able to form some really great friendships and understand better this other perspective, I think, and it's really important. And one of the things that Avenues definitely offers to us is this whole different way to see something that from somebody else's eyes, because I think in life we're all very used to seeing things the way we see it, and some people are never given the opportunity to see things in a different way. And one of the things at Avenues I think we're given, especially, and it's a skill that we're taught, is to always open our eyes to a different direction, because there's always 2 sides of a story. Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. That is, I think, an amazing place to end, because I don't think we can do much better than that. I'm going to share the handle for Tutoria Solidaria. I wanted to thank all of you students for always being so available and articulate and gregarious. I literally well up with tears every time you guys talk. I know you have more work to get to. It's only Wednesday, so I want to be respectful of your time. John and Lisa, I don't know if you want to add anything, but I would like to stay on with my colleague Juliana to those parents who have questions about the admissions process. We would like to stay and help you guys answer those nitty-gritty questions and let the students get back to all the amazing things that they're working on.
Thank you to each and every one of you. It's the magic that happens that allows us to do our job in admissions and tell your stories. So thank you for sharing that with us. I agree with Colleen. I get the goosebumps every time you guys talk. So I can watch and watch and watch and learn every time. So thank you for sharing that with all of us and our audience as well.
Same here. Oops. Yeah, actually, I mic'd it. Same here with everybody. Thank you so much for participating with the Inside Look. I'm always as well impressed with the way you can articulate and speak so well about what you do. I'm going to kind of throw you a pop question. Just thought about it now. As you leave, can you say one word, just one word, that describes your experience at Avenues before we say goodbye? Anybody want to start?
Is mind opening, does mind opening count as 2 words or 1?
I'll let it go for 2. I'll let it count as 1. Okay.
I can go next. Engaging would be my word.
Oh, you're wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say surprising, but in a good way.
I think I would say maybe like discovering or something like this, because I discovered so many things about myself and about the things that I like in this past 2 years, now the 3rd year, and that I thought I would never know about myself. So I think that describes it well.
Good one.
I would say free, because we have a lot of freedom to work on the things we like and discover what our passions are.
I would say opportunity, because Avenues gave me, did someone said opportunity already? No, right?
No.
Because Avenues, I don't know, just gave me a lot of opportunities for me to actually stick to what I like and get to really put passion in what I do. So
perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll let you get back to your studies now. We have online classes in the morning, I know, so thanks for participating.
And on behalf of all the student ambassadors to the visitors, I wanted to thank you and to invite you all to our first virtual open house. I don't know, Ms. Viola, Juliana, if you want to share that slide, but on October 28th at 5:30 p.m., we will be hosting our first virtual open house, which is an opportunity to do a deeper dive into our curriculum with teachers and students. And I want you to all know that that's coming up. And until that point, we'll be available online to help you guys with the admissions process. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye. Sorry, I closed the presentation and couldn't get it back up again in time.
It's okay. It's okay. They'll get the emails anyways. We shared. So Ana, Carolina, I think Luciana and Yanidi, you guys all had questions about the admissions process. Vocês preferem que a gente vá para o português, embora com sotaque e alguns errinhos? O que é o melhor para vocês?
Por mim, tanto faz, o que for melhor para todo mundo.
Okay.
If you want to keep in English, we can keep it.
Tá bom. Alguém já pediu pelo chat em português. Acabei de compartilhar com todos o link para o processo de envio de matrículas pelo nosso site. O primeiro passo seria vocês fazerem uma inscrição pelo site. Isso é feito por criança. O nosso processo, Lisa, não sei se você quer contar um pouquinho ou se eu vou passo a passo, mas contempla uma inscrição que é feita online, depois terá uma entrevista, agora tudo está sendo virtualmente, além da Juliana e eu, nossa colega Connie, que não está no call hoje, cuida dos pequenos, do 2 aninhos de idade até a 3ª série. A partir da 5ª série, o aluno também participa da entrevista e, num terceiro momento, a gente faz uma avaliação. E claro que daqui até lá teremos muitos eventos para falar um pouquinho a mais. A entrevista também serve para responder dúvidas e perguntas, mas os eventos que nem hoje, vamos ter um evento daqui a pouco onde os pais vão compartilhar suas experiências e outros eventos no Open House que vão mostrar um pouquinho mais como que é essa metodologia interdisciplinar baseada em projetos, porque é uma coisa tão diferente, principalmente no mercado local de educação, em termos da metodologia. Ju ou Lisa?
Ok, got it. Eu acho importante dizer que é um processo holístico, né? O que a Kaline estava explicando, são vários componentes de um olhar que a gente tem, então todas as peças fazem parte do todo. Então, essa oportunidade, esse privilégio de conhecer as famílias, de conversar sobre as expectativas deles, as dúvidas deles, o currículo, a missão e a visão da Avenues, conhecer os filhos e navegar esse caminho juntos para que vocês se sentem no fim do processo, que você tem toda a informação, que a gente fala to take an informed decision, se a Avenues é um best fit para a tua família, mas igual a Kaline falou, durante o processo, toda a equipe de admissões navega esse processo junto com vocês e estamos à disposição. Mas é um processo holístico, é para poder ter vários componentes para poder tomar uma decisão.
A Yaniri fez uma pergunta sobre como que é a avaliação para uma criança de 8 anos.
Do you want to go?
Sure. 8 anos seria qual série? Eles estão no...
Third grade.
Não sei, third or second. Terceira série? Do 2ª à 5ª série é parecido. Eles participarão de uma leitura ao vivo, assim, com alguém. Eles vão ler dentro da mesma metodologia utilizada na escola. Então, eles vão ler em português, vão ler em inglês, vão fazer uma redação também em ambas as línguas e eles fazem alguns exercícios como se matemática. Antes disso, vocês enviam um vídeo de uma forma um pouco mais espontânea, deles contando sobre um livro que eles gostam, coisas que eles têm feito durante essa quarentena, para a gente também conhecer um pouquinho melhor.
Uma vez que tem que ser virtual, né? A gente começa com esse processo. É um dos pontos mais gostosos do dia, quando entra esses vídeos para a gente assistir. A gente fica bastante animados.
Os vídeos são em inglês. Eu coloquei aqui no chat também alguns links, né? Um link meu e o link da Kaline, que vocês podem clicar e vocês têm acesso à nossa agenda. Se por um acaso vocês forem fazer o application e surgirem mais dúvidas, ou de repente, se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida sobre a escola, a gente também fica à disposição para conversar com vocês pelo Zoom. Bom?
Obrigada, Ju. Só respondendo as outras perguntas, tanto a Júlia quanto o Gabriel, acho que é parecido pela idade. Um aluno de 15 anos, o que é diferente do que eu falei agora, que eles vão fazer mais avaliações online, então a parte de línguas, compreensão, leitura e matemática é feito remotamente, aliás, através do Zoom, com a nossa colega Jackie. E eles também fazem algo que é chamado Virtual Design Challenge. Como a nossa metodologia de ensino é muito diferente, baseada em projetos, achávamos que não era o suficiente fazer um teste padronizado para conhecer cada um. Então, é uma oportunidade tanto da gente conhecer o aluno melhor, quanto eles verem um pouquinho como que é esse estilo de ensino. Então, eles recebem um desafio, uma pergunta que eles têm que pesquisar e entender para devolver para a gente um vídeo com sua resposta, que deveria ser um pouco analítica, pode ser criativa, a maneira em qual eles contam para a gente. Isso é feito depois da avaliação online, e acreditamos que é uma maneira interessante tanto deles conhecerem a gente e nós, o candidato. E sobre a segunda pergunta, Gabriel, é difícil avaliar sem conhecer. Então, tem alguns pais que falam, meu filho não fala, e a gente conhece, fala super bem, e o inverso. E por isso que nem a Alissa falou, nosso processo é holístico. Fazemos uma entrevista, fazemos essas avaliações, porque o entendimento de cada um sobre o que é bom e não bom, ou suficiente ou não, varia muito. Então, seria um prazer conhecê-lo ou conhecê-la para poder ter uma noção melhor. Algo que a gente sempre faz é acompanhar a família muito nesse processo. Juliana, talvez você queira falar sobre Ally?
Sim, posso falar. A gente teve um piloto de um programa que foi super bem sucedido no semestre passado, que a gente chama de Ally, né, um acronym, a abreviação para o Avenues Language Learning Institute, que é um programa que contempla alunos de 6º, 7º e 8º anos, que preenchem todos os requisitos, né, as exigências do processo de admissão, mas que a gente identifica ao longo do processo que, de repente, ainda precisam aperfeiçoar um pouquinho o idioma. Então, é um programa em que esses alunos passam um semestre como alunos da Avenues, né? Então, antes da gente ter que ficar em casa, né, tinham acesso a tudo dentro da escola, assim como os alunos das aulas regulares, mas as aulas e os professores são bastante focados nesse aperfeiçoamento linguístico. Então, a aula de matemática com o professor de matemática que tem esse olhar ainda mais atento a, de repente, algum aluno não entender uma palavra em inglês, algum vocabulário diferente. Não sei se deu para entender, eu fiz um resumão do programa. A Alissa está me perguntando se, de repente, a gente pode explicar um pouquinho sobre o processo para uma criança de 3 aninhos.
Tá, o processo de criança de 3 anos, ela é um pouco menos exigente no sentido de documentação por causa da idade da criança. Então, a gente pede um vídeo da criança fazendo essas várias perguntas. Como é que eles brincam no jardim ou brincam na casa? A gente deixa para os pais fazer pergunta de qual uma musiquinha que você quer cantar, ou um livro que você quer que eu conte, e é via esse lente do vídeo que, com a inscrição e a conversa com os pais, que a gente faz a avaliação de uma criança de 3. Ela é bem mais...
É um requisito falar inglês nessa idade, então só...
E ela pode falar em português. A gente não tem uma exigência de língua até o primeiro ano de idade, até o primeiro ano de escola, né, primeira série. Então, os pequenos devem falar em português, se essa foi a língua que eles comunicam. Tem outras línguas também que estão sendo compartilhadas, que a gente vai correndo atrás de tradutor para ajudar. Mas via especialmente porque a gente não pode estar no campus, mas quando podia estar no campus, a gente trazia a criança para brincar, fazer um playgroup, ver a interação dos pais com a criança, com a gente. Então, muita mudança. Mas uma das mudança desse vídeo, a gente decidiu manter para sempre, porque a gente se diverte demais com os vídeos. Então,
voltando sobre o Ally, vamos ter um evento específico em outubro, né, Juliana? Vai ser outubro e dezembro, mas eu compartilho agora com vocês o link para vocês verem todos os eventos que a escola está tendo. Cada mês a gente publica novos eventos. Então, o próximo evento é um evento informativo geral, que a gente fala de PI, Parent Information Event. E também vamos ter pela primeira vez um evento que é parecido com hoje, de The Parent Experience. Então, os pais de alunos na escola de Nova York, de São Paulo, vão compartilhar o que eles têm observado em seus filhos. Acho que temos um pai aqui agora que, se conseguirmos, deve compartilhar com a gente como Parent Association, o nosso PTA, e como pai, sua experiência.
Yeah.
Eu não sei se tem mais perguntas aqui. No, I think we covered them all.
Tem mais alguma pergunta especial que a gente pode ajudar a resposta, procurar quem tem essa resposta, mas eu acho que hoje foi um momento de ver a magia, a transformação desses alunos com seus projetos, com os seus descobrimentos, sua alegria com esse momento de descobrição, né? Então, Marcelo está aqui com a gente. O Marcelo é o novo presidente da nossa Associação de Pais e Mestres, o APA. Welcome, Marcelo. What a privilege to have you here with us today. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Obrigado a todos. Amazing presentation. Students very confident. I have 4 kids at Avenues, secondary and primary division. And now we're just beginning from scratch. The APA, the Avenues Parent Association, will be a big challenge, but we are very happy to begin this process. I think I can tell something about parents' importance at Avenues. No, Avenues is a school very different from other schools that I have been before, that allows parents to be very participative, and we have a role at ACE, for an example. A lot of students talked about ACE, Avenues Community Engagement. So it's a school that I like to say that I'm also, a student at Avenues. I feel like this. So because we can learn a lot of new things, and it's a very open-minded school. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you, Marcelo.
We joke, I think Marcelo knows more of our programs than anyone else in the school. He's always, also with 4 kids, right? You're always there, but he's always participating in activities and in the classrooms. He knows the teachers. He helps with even the book lending program that was started with Through Your Idea. So it's we're really happy to have him starting off our parent association. We're really privileged to have him with us.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And Marcelo, I don't know if you noticed that your son Felipe was on the mastery. There was a picture of him on the mastery slide. So
yeah, I have seen. At New York, he went to New York also to make the 3D printers project, and I have seen a picture of him there. Was a very nice trip. He liked it very much. And I have to say something. Now he's making his personal statement essays for college applications, and he is using this program of New York, this 3G program that he did with kids, and was amazing. And he's using this experience to write his personal statement. So that means a lot.
Sure.
So if there's no further questions, we just want to once again thank you for carving out time today to get to know us a little better. Please reach out to us in admissions, reach out to John, reach out to Marcelo now at the APA. We're happy to be of any service that we can. And it's, you know, it's just an honor and a privilege to be able to work with families that are looking at avenues. So please count on us to be able to help you walk through that journey. Colleen, Juliana, thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.